The college sports world is constantly evolving, especially in the age of conference realignment. But one thing that has routinely been in the forefront of the conversation is so-called paycheck games. Is there a benefit to them, though, for the school getting the check? We went inside the numbers and talked to a small school's athletic director to learn more.
Lopsided scores early in the season that spark the debate online of whether it's a needed phenomenon. Guarantee games, also known as buy games or paycheck games, help college teams fill their schedules. The premise is simple. A bigger school invites a smaller school to play a game, and they get a check for their efforts.
When I was at Marshall, we tried to play one, every 3 or 4 years, just to go out and get a paycheck and help out the budget, especially in years that, we thought we were going to be a little lean.
Jeff O'Malley is the athletic director at Lamar University in Beaumont after a stint as Marshall's chief of staff. During the 2022 football season, his first in Beaumont, Lamar played 2 bye games against FBS foes, SMU and New Mexico State. There's more to those, though, than the checks.
I think it's always an advantage to play up a little bit and use it as a barometer to see where we are.
We requested the non-conference contracts for every Big 12 football game that involved at least one public school, which only eliminates Baylor at BYU and SMU at TCU. The checks range in price, with games against FCS foes like Lamar averaging just shy of $500,000, with the conference's schools doling out a combined $2.8 million in just 6 such games.
To put it into perspective, how much does that help the budget at a school like a Lamar, like a Stephen F. Austin, or even when you were at Marshall, some of these group of 5 schools are getting, 1.5, 1.7, 1.8 million.
Yeah. I almost feel like it had more of an impact for us at Marshall than it does on our budget here.
The price tag for FBS foes varies. We found 3 games in 2022 that did not include a payout. Of the ones with payouts, the smallest was $100,000. Just 3 games between a Big 12 team and another FBS opponent featured 7-figure checks, though, with Oklahoma paying UTEP $1.3 million and Kent State $1.5. Then Texas paid Louisiana Monroe $1.85 million. There is some back and forth on these, though, with O'Malley saying the biggest give and take usually comes on the buyout should one team cancel and leave the other scrambling to find a game. They all address things like tickets, sideline credentials, and Oklahoma State even worked in 120 hotel rooms for one night, up to $15,000 for its 2015 trip to Central Michigan, which O'Malley says is unique.
I haven't seen the hotel ones in a football contract. I know in basketball contracts or baseball or some of the other sports that's pretty that's commonplace.
Among the 6 FCS games we received contracts for, Baylor's 2022 opener against Albany featured the smallest payout at $400,000. And while that seems like a good payday, it doesn't go quite as far as you'd expect.
By the time you charter a plane and you travel and all that, it's really not. It is a net positive, but it's not transformational type money.
But football is not the only sport that offers smaller schools these paydays. Men's basketball and some women's basketball games feature sizable paychecks as well. When the money that comes into the athletic department is totaled, is when it makes a difference for the smaller schools that might not have the donor base of a Big 12 school.
Whether you're going to refresh a locker room or make a new entrance into a building, you can certainly do that with that kind of money.
Some, though, also give it, carrying President Reagan's idea of trickle-down economics into college sports.
You get a pay game, you go on the road, and then you use that, right? You use that to buy teams that are going to come in and play you.
However, with this round of realignment and the likely expansion of conference play in revenue sports like football and basketball, O'Malley is worried about the future of these games that departments like his rely on.
I think it's actually decreasing.
In conversations with coaches in the small college ranks, they told us that the smaller you go, the smaller those paychecks tend to get, and that in Division 2 and 3, you'll even see some basketball teams, for example, get their guarantee in the form of game count and game scheduling. That's it for sports. We'll be right back.